Stick with me for this thought experiment. Let's imagine that your marketing funnel is like a water slide. Sure, you can go ahead and get somebody at the top and push them down, telling them that gravity's going to do its work. If everything goes well, by the time they get to the bottom, they'll shoot out the other end as a happy customer. But the issue with this for you as a startup founder or marketing team is that it's kind of a one and done trick. If you want another customer, you're going to have to go out into the park, find another friend, and bring them back up that ladder and just start the process all over again. That's the primary problem with the traditional marketing funnel, is that it treats customers at the close one point of their journey as if, hey, you're at the end of your life cycle, it's time to get off the ride. In a world where SaaS startups thrive off of recurring revenue and long-lasting relationships, the former is just a recipe to slow growth and increase costs. So let's flip the script. Instead of building a funnel, what you want to build is a flywheel. It's big, heavy, powerful, takes a lot of inertia to get going, but once it does, it is impossible to stop. What you're doing here is focusing on relationships that are going to get your customers to refer new users, expand their contracts on autopilot where they don't have to go through a quarterly review to make sure that they're actually going to keep you, and they're going to advocate for your brand because you start building evangelists for your product, people that are so happy to have it embedded in their workflow that they have no choice intrinsically but to go ahead and spam their LinkedIn or spam their X or their Twitter or any of their socials saying, hey, other people need to use this. Has the world found out about this yet? All of this builds momentum and community, especially when you have deep referral programs, affiliate marketing programs, and public competitions or leaderboards to show what creators are actually helping you scale your network. What we're talking about here is the demand generation flywheel. So this whole video is going to be breaking down where the traditional funnel is outdated and fails you, and why the flywheel reigns supreme in the SaaS and AI startup market. We'll also go into exactly how to build one that powers scalability and sustainability when everything's trying to take your attention and just bog you down with decision paralysis and higher costs. Sure, yeah, the traditional funnel has dominated the B2B market for decades, but its main problem is that it treats every single interaction with a transactional mindset. And yeah, if you boil everything down, you're a company trying to make money, but your prospects in 2025 are realistically looking for a partner in business. Yes, that might come from another company, but they're looking to have some kind of loyalty with their vendors. If you're only focused on moving prospects from awareness to purchase, then the funnel starts to feel like the customers are just endpoints and your only focus is increasing revenue and not building an immersive brand experience and long-term customer value that's going to keep them from churning and going to also keep them, on the other hand, giving you referrals that's going to fuel your business. Those leads are going to be way higher quality since they came from one of your existing customers who is having their pain point solved and feels like they are supported by your customer success team than the one who the last time that they heard about anybody or from anybody on your team was when they paid effectively. In SaaS, this is incredibly short-sighted because customers aren't endpoints. The game doesn't end when you get their signature and you get their sign-off and you go ahead and you onboard them. That's realistically when the game starts. Your customers in and of themselves are a recurring revenue stream with potential for upsells, renewals, and referrals that you can continue to expand their lifetime value, yes, to make more money from them, of course, but to add value to their lives as well. It doesn't just go one way where it's, how can we milk this customer for as long as possible? It's how can we prove to them that coming to our organization to service this workflow or this part of their business was the best option in terms of what ROI they're actually getting from it. Because working with you is a gamble. I'm sorry. If it's any AI startup or SaaS startup or whatever, any company, period, if you're brand new, if you just got funding, if you have less than 10 or 20 employees, then it's a risk to work with you because your product isn't validated in the market yet. So reward them by actually taking care of them after they come out of your funnel, putting them into a flywheel where you're continuing to find new ways to innovate for them and continuing to find new ways to add value to their workflows. They come first. A customer should be getting so much from you that you feel like, oh shit, this person might be stealing from me. And that's the point. Once you find that sweet spot where it's like, I cannot add and justify adding a single other feature for these people, for our customers, Otherwise, I'm actively losing money. You want to get to that sweet spot. The downside of doing this poorly is that you can spend 6 figures on ads, pretty much flushing that right down the toilet, because you had a third of your customer base every quarter leave due to poor customer success. Now, the flywheel model shifts the whole philosophy here. So customers get to fuel growth for you. They become the engine that keeps the momentum compounding. You learn from them. Once you get them out of the funnel and they are a closed one here, then you continue engaging with them to inform your future roadmap, to inform new features that are coming out. Because if you already got their buy-in, they are going to be way more likely to give you positive feedback. And yeah, sure, probably be a little disgruntled when you start seeing all of these people are churning for the same reason. Like, for instance, I was working with a SaaS startup a few years ago, and we had abysmal churn, but we just kept hiring more and more sales reps to sort of just like, oh, don't worry, we got more customers. And eventually, guess what? We ran out of customers to go prospect in that particular niche industry. And I was like, fuck, we need to actually fix our product. Like, it's asinine to think that you can just go hire more sales reps when realistically, your customers are giving you a pile of support tickets telling you, this is why we're leaving, please fix it, and we will happily stay with you. Too often, CEOs are just like, no, we're good. We're going to stay on to that roadmap that we had. It's all right. Yeah, no, we'll get more customers like you. And then eventually that well dries up and they don't know how to pivot because they haven't been flexing that muscle for the past several quarters. The primary philosophy of the demand generation flywheel is that it is customer-centric first and foremost. If you can delight your customers, they're going to be continuing to carry your company with so much energy in the market that you'll have referrals and recommendations and backlinks all flooding into your company, just adding credibility and building that network effect so until you become an enterprise hold name. The happier they are, the faster that wheel spins, and the less you have to rely on expensive acquisition or running ads. For most companies, you don't need to be spending tens of thousands of dollars of ads. Go hire a content writer and have them enter your market and say, hey, this is the way it needs to go. These are the market shifts. This is why we built our product. These are the advisors and the authority members that we have that we're bringing in that are building out research papers that are validating our product. Build the hype around the community and get a grassroots sort of attractiveness there instead of just saying, yeah, cool, we're a profitable multi-million-dollar company, but we spend $500,000 a quarter on ads. That doesn't, it's short term and it's fickle. What you want to do is you want to build the relationships with your customers and build the content to be a foundation that is evergreen, always on, and that you have an influx of inbound customers coming to you that you're not having to beg for or pay for. I've told this story before, but I worked for an e-commerce brand a few years ago, and our department of 5 people, we were getting paid like $3,000 a month, so $15K in total, and we were all organic. We were launching dozens, if not hundreds, of products per week with just typical SKUs. It would be trade show furniture, display booths, mirrors, LED lights, you name it. There was no shortage of products that we were bringing to market. Meanwhile, the team on the side of us was making twice our salary and had a $500,000 to $600,000 a month budget to bring back not even a 3x ROAS, which we as the organic team were beating already. Like, we were making more organic revenue than the paid revenue company was, and they had a several $100,000 a month budget. It was ludicrous, but they still got all the credit because it was like, hey, we need more sales reps, we need more ads. Don't fall into that trap. Imagine if you put that same amount of money into building your content, building your video content, building a proper website, building out, making sure that you have blogs coming out every single day, making sure that you have referral engines and affiliate networks and leaderboards and things that people are looking forward to for you to be the central hub of your industry. So being able to use some of that ad money instead and go hire some industry leaders to come onto a fireside chat and talk to your VP of product and some other industry exec and bring 3 or 4 voices on, even if that costs you money for that spot. That will have way more impact and provide way more value than your 15th ad set this month. Now, this matters for a few reasons. On average, sales cycles are actually 30% longer today for enterprise closes than they were in 2020. You also have to have a high lifetime value of these customers because it's so focused on recurring revenue. So you have to be continuing to innovate products faster than your competitors. Otherwise, they're just going to jump, especially if it is just a month-to-month subscription. Customers are worth a lot over time, and you need to understand that very early. It is way more valuable to retain a customer than it is to acquire a new customer. You should put more of your eggs into making the existing customers that you have happy and making sure that you can prolong your relationship with them than you should be worried about just racking up another logo. This is all focused around recurring revenue. So the whole model depends on loyalty and advocacy, not just a one-time sales. You're building a relationship with this customer and saying that we are your partner in whatever function you're trying to serve. And they might not even have to go and have to hire a bunch of in-house talent to fill that role if your system does it well enough, which is going to save them time. It's going to save them overhead, money. It's going to save them the complication of having to manage more people. So it is a godsend for your company to be able to replace a role or be able to have them plug in month over month and save their mid-level manager who's swamped in work if they're also at another startup and say, hey, we're going to save you like 30 hours a month. You know, they're unlocking a whole nother week because of your workflows. So being able to unlock that and continue to work towards that mission, customer-centric mission, is going to pay dividends. A funnel burns energy, but a flywheel builds it over time and it compounds in a perpetual machine. The flywheel has 3 primary stages. That would be the attract, the engage, and the delight stage. So we're going to break all that down here. The attract stage of the flywheel is about drawing the right people at the right time, not with aggressive marketing or hyper-targeted ads, but by creating value for your ICP at the top of the funnel. We're like, okay, this person is an authority and we need to roll with them. That means getting better SEO, having long tail keywords, having webinars, videos, pretty much everything that you can to provide as much upfront value to your prospect as possible, where they feel like, hey, if I consume this content every single day, I might know a thing or two about what this customer is trying to sell me, and I might be able to do it myself. What happens when you solidify yourself as an authority in your industry and you continue providing, to continue showing the value that you can provide and say, hey, this is how you can do it yourself if you want. Here's a complete 38-page playbook. Go ahead and have fun with it. In most cases, people just want to be proven that you know how to do the thing. That will gain trust. So if you're a lead gen agency, you should be getting absolutely swamped with leads. If you're a content agency, then you should be ranked on the first page of Google for like everything that you're doing effectively, right? Like they want to be able to see you demonstrate, even if it's a hyper niche technical SaaS platform, an AI platform, they want to see you talking through it so they can believe you. And then once they believe you, they'll give you some money. The important note here is that you don't want to try and rank for just very broad keywords like project management software. That doesn't really do anything for the people that have the buying decision. That helps everybody up top, at the top of the funnel, for people that are actually looking to make a purchasing decision and they are the primary decision makers, whereas they don't need to go get approval from somebody else. They're probably searching for something like project management services for remote healthcare workers. See how there's a long tail tagged onto the end of that. And what you can do as you start writing that content is you put that long tail a few times up top, project management platform for remote healthcare workers. That is a mouthful. But as you go further and further down, you start chipping off. Okay, so now it's project management platform for remote workers, right? And then you go for healthcare, and then you chip off the extra and it's just project management platform by the time you get to the conclusion. And this sort of creates a well-rounded picture of what the blog is about without falling into the trap of keyword stuffing. Because Google is going to see when you take the exact same keyword and paste it 28 times in a 2,000 word piece of content. What you want to do is use what I call C-index, a correspondence index, which is pretty much just synonyms. Like if I couldn't use my keyword, what else would I use? What are supportive terms that again help paint the picture? And then Google's going to pick up on that and treat you like an authority. The benefit of this keyword strategy is that you're not getting tire kickers anymore at the top of the funnel. That, yeah, cool, they might just have an extra half an hour and just want to go through your demo. And ruin your conversion rate. But if you go with this sort of, long tail, hyper specific keyword strategy, you're going to get more people that are like, I know exactly what I need, and I've assessed other people in your market, and I've assessed you. And if they want to get on a call, then they actually see this as a beneficial use of their time. They're not going to be wasting their time if the rest of your marketing did its job. They're not going to bother getting on a call with you if they don't already have at least somewhat faith in you. So odds are you can go ahead and get a yes right away on that first demo call, especially if you were feeding them content throughout the entire process that showed them firsthand that you knew exactly what you were doing. You were the best one for the job. The engage phase is what keeps them hooked. So this is where most SaaS companies end up fumbling the bag because they don't really care about their customers after they get their money. They kind of just leave them in limbo. And trust me, that's felt. Then they churn inevitably. If you have no engagement, then you're not really building relationships with your users, and you're showing them that you only cared during the sales process. Easy ways to do this is just by personalizing your email sequences. So yes, putting their name on everything, or paying attention to what their usage on your platform is. You could have, let's just say hypothetically, 10 features, and this could be a user that's already spent 9 or 10 months on your platform, and they only touched 4 of them. Well, odds are that user isn't getting the full value of what you promised or even what they're paying for. So there should be an email trigger that points them to other parts of your ecosystem or of your platform. So like, hey, you missed all of these things. We want you to have the best relationship with us. So in full transparency, how about you go check out these other features? Because it's for you. It's not for us. It's for you, because we want you to have the best customer journey on this platform, and we want you to go tell all of your friends about it, please. One of the ways that we do this really well with one of my portfolio clients is we allow higher tier users to effectively pull a page out of Twitch's book where you can gift subs, but we're able to gift seats to other team members so those team members can get the base level version of the platform. And then it's effectively giving a free paid trial of a higher tier than they would have otherwise gotten. And then, of course, when it runs out, what do you think pops up? A CTA to like, hey, did you like this experience? How about you, go sign up for it here? And hey, if you go get some referrals for us and share this as well, then we'll even give you like a month or something like that. It depends on the company's economics and what you can do and what you can get away with. But there's so much that you can do just off relationship building and making sure that these people feel like they're in it with you. Now, you can set the stage for this kind of relationship very early on, even before they're a closed one. So approaching them with what's your challenge and how can we fix it, rather than just asking them, when can we close, or what is your timeline looking like for implementation? Companies like IBM nailed this by lowering their cost per lead by 49% with a 65% higher conversion rate, just because their customers, it was a no-brainer for them to upgrade. They already felt like they were part of a movement, rather than, hey, this is just a new SaaS platform that I'm trying to sign on to test out this month. In order to delight your users, the sales aspect is not the end. That is the first date. That is the introduction. And them signing on is you being lucky enough for there to be a second date ahead. It's just the beginning of a larger relationship and a larger journey. If your customers aren't happy, they're going to churn. If they aren't delighted, then they're not going to be an advocate and an ambassador of your brand, which is exactly what you want to unlock. You want to unlock people that are going to share their workflow or record themselves actually performing and be like, yeah, insert random tool. This saved me 2.5 hours on my Wednesday. I love it. It is so worth the $64 a month or whatever it is if you're, a monthly subscription. Delighting them also means that you have always on support. Either you have an AI chatbot, which is trained on your entire knowledge base and can perform the same actions as your support team, or you have an SLA, it's like, hey, yeah, we answer all responses within 12 hours. If you're able to outsource work to have a 24-hour support team, do that as well. It's also being incredibly responsive with new feature requests and updates. I say this pretty frequently, but more often than not, product roadmaps go to die in the support ticket bin that nobody ever checks. And we'll talk to the chief product officers and pretty much plan out, okay, well, what are we going to be putting on our roadmap for next quarter, or do we have a year roadmap? And I almost never see them actually loop in customer success and be like, what are our customers asking for? It's always a conversation between the executive team and the CEO of like what their vision was. To delight your customers, you also want to highlight their wins on your platform. So invite them to do case studies or a co-branded report. You can invite them over to have webinars or fireside chats where you have a leader from your organization sit with a leader from theirs and one other spotlight advisor. And now you have a 3-way or 4-way communication where it's like you're giving them the floor and you're giving them access to your customers and your platform to have a conversation in the context of the pain point that you're solving. Which when you have hundreds of people in a live Q&A or a live webinar and they're seeing and they're asking all of these questions in real time and they're seeing the customers that you have advocate for you, that is immediate trust building. All of the leads that you get out of that system are going to be highly qualified, highly educated, and ready to continue that conversation. It also really shows that you're able to give up your spotlight a little bit for your successful customers, for them to talk about what they're doing, especially if they're a smaller business and would love that publicity. It's going to come as no surprise when I tell you that AI is as Flywheel's greatest friend as it is with most things in marketing. A lot of what we do are automations and data analytics at scale, especially at the enterprise level. It's like doing all that manually will take weeks, whereas AI can just surface the signal amidst all of the noise within minutes if done right. Your flywheel pretty much demands personalization, speed, and efficiency at all costs. And that's where AI has been able to rewrite all of the rules. So it automates all of your repetitive tasks, your content drafting, your lead scoring, your email sequencing. You can just cold email with personalized messages now to thousands of people where you never would have been able to do that manually 2 to 3 years ago. It personalizes everything at scale, so your chatbots can now act like SDRs that are probably better with a higher conversion rate than your actual in-person SDRs, where there's a little bit of like human-on-human tension where nobody really likes getting sold. People want to be convinced that they're making the buying decision themselves and are clicking that button to go into the next phase. It's a lot more impactful when they opt into it rather than feeling like they were convinced to sign. And it integrates all of your data streams across departments. So for marketing, sales, customer success, all of your data can now refer to the same place and start to build relationships between all the departments that you would have needed a really kick-ass product marketing manager to connect all of those dots in the past. What these interconnected data points do across the entire customer lifecycle is it lets you identify the patterns that rockstar customers, your whales, your cream of the crop, what activities and what patterns did they show early on with sales through onboarding and then in their first 6 months to a year that you can learn from to make sure that new customers follow that same brick road step by step with very little variation to ensure that now you're just printing whales. When you're shifting your marketing strategy like this from a traditional sales funnel to a demand generation flywheel, it takes time, it takes collaboration, it takes leadership, and for somebody to be confident coming into your organization saying, hey, we're going to do this just a little bit different. The number of variables, the number of deliveries, yeah, sure, it might be a little bit longer because we're holding that customer's hand in perpetuity, not until they give us a paycheck, but they're going to do laps with us rather than being a churn risk the very next renewal period. One thing to look out for is budget constraints here. So you don't want to be trying to do absolutely everything at once. You want to start with high impact areas that are relatively low lift. You've heard this before. Just go ahead and tackle all of the low hanging fruit first, get those wins under your belt, and then go tackle the monsters. Use AI to stretch your resources as much as possible and bring in specialists only when you need them. And specialists could be in-house permanent headcount, or it can be a marketing agency that just steers the ship directionally, whereas AI is able to take those quick pivots based on real-time data. You want to make sure that your sales and your marketing are absolutely perfectly aligned at all times. It kills me how often I come into an organization and there's a monthly sales and marketing meeting rather than a weekly, ideally, or at least bi-weekly, and that, you're looking at sales reps that are like, hey, I haven't been trained on this thing that I'm selling here. I don't have any sales collateral. I can't access the pitch deck or the master deck. I don't know where to go to answer any of these. Like, I don't have talk tracks or a bullet list to talk me through the benefits and the features of this new launch that just came out, I would say just came out 2 months ago. That's already ancient history in the SaaS world. Like, you'd be surprised how disconnected marketing and sales often is. Misalignment here will absolutely kill your flywheel. So if you want to fix it, you need to focus on just one ICP with one definition of what a qualified lead is. So you have some shared KPIs and you can both look at the same picture and go, okay, that's exactly who we want. So that way marketing isn't delivering what we perceive as a marketing qualified lead that the sales team would never imagine signing off on. With that in mind, it's also important to have competitive intelligence in your marketers know where the market is going and be able to talk to very transparently with the sales team of like, hey, this is what a real lead needs to look like. Marketing or sales agnostic, like the way that the marketing is going, these are the types of customers that we want you to go get. And like the sales team, on the other hand, might say, well, yeah, cool, we understand that these people will have a longer lifetime value, but like these people over here are just really easy to close. So can we just close another like 20 of them? And it's like, depending on what stage, sure, but like more realistically, no. You don't want to go ahead and get more customers for the sake of it because they're easy to close. You would rather take time actually nailing somebody in your ICP because they're going to stay with you significantly longer. They're going to build up to being an ambassador or an evangelist, and then they're going to refer you to other people like them. Measuring your ROI with this type of flywheel is also just a little bit more complicated than your traditional sales funnel, where it's very easy to track conversion metrics. So flywheels are a little bit more complex and you have to track retention on top of conversion. So you need to look at your retention, your LTV, your advocacy, and how many referrals they're consistently giving you. Bonus tips, if you make those referrals actually feel worth it, like they're getting some kind of kickback, like an affiliate network, or if they're getting some kind of exclusive bonuses, like access to industry, like expert PDFs, or if they're getting access to webinars that nobody else will get to go see other than people that referred. This starts building community and FOMO towards these events that, you know, are only exclusive to elite members. You want to tie all of these metrics back to revenue, or your executives just aren't going to buy in on investing in the flywheel. The key is treating this as a leadership challenge, not just a marketing challenge. So the whole company owns the flywheel together, not just the marketing team. It's like a baton pass, a perfectly synced up run around. It's like a baton pass, perfectly synced up between sales and customer support and marketing, who is sitting there as sort of a triangle between. That's a great triangle between everybody, making sure that there's a liaison between all of the departments, that everybody is making concerted effort to lead the user in one direction. The big takeaway here, I guess, is that funnels are not the end for your customer. It is the beginning of the journey. It is when they said yes. It is like, that would be like saying that you were going on a whole bunch of dates and you finally asked somebody to be your boyfriend or your girlfriend. And then as soon as they said, yeah, you chased them, you're like, okay. And then just didn't talk to them for months, right? Like that would just be absolute asinine and bad manners, but too many companies do this. They win their customer, they give them the platform, they onboard them over, you know, a few weeks or God forbid a few months if it's a more intricate, you know, system. And then they just go, okay, have fun. We'll talk to you again a few weeks before your renewal was up and make sure that you still feel good about us. And good luck until then. And that's just not the way to do it. So I can boil this down to 3 actionable takeaways that you can run with after this video. Is you want to audit your funnel and you want to see where energy is leaking after the close. Then you want to start building the attract, engage, and delight strategies in parallel. Again, this is one mechanism. This isn't a handoff where after you pass the baton, that person can just collapse. They keep running, okay? It's just constantly in motion, and you have new users graduating into evangelists. Evangelists start referring to new users, and it just becomes a virtuous cycle. And then last, you want to use AI to amplify, automate, and personalize at scale. If this was helpful for you at all, please go ahead and give me a huge favor. Click that like, comment, and ring the subscribe bell, as this is a new channel. I would be eternally blessed for your attention. This is still relatively new, so give me any feedback at all. I am open to different locations, that I can go at, but I've just been enjoying getting my head out of the computer and talking to another computer for a bit. Anyways, I feel great. If there's any topics that you want me to cover, then just let me know. And there will be a couple of videos up here on the side of my head. Boom, for you to watch. Thank you.